The best big men in the NBA. The Philadelphia 76ers have come to terms on a new 4-year, $196 million contract extension with Joel Embiid. That's according to our Ramona Shelburne. And yeah, he has trusted the process. Everybody in Philly has. This means he'll be there through the 26-27 season. It comes after Embiid's best season in the league as he finished as the runner-up to MVP Nikola Jokic. The 27-year-old Embiid, who was the 3rd overall pick in 2014, he averaged 28.5 points, 10.6 rebounds per game last season, leading Philly to the best record in the Eastern Conference. It truly was a career year for the big man. Again, the average, that was the highest points per game average for a center, 28.5, since Shaq did it. 28.7 in the 2000-2001 season, so a full 2 decades, as Embiid became the first Sixers player with at least 28 per game since Allen Iverson, AI, in the 06-07 season, and only the 5th player in the illustrious history of the Sixers franchise. Let's bring in our senior NBA insider, Adrian Wojnarowski, live on SportsCenter. We all know one of the only knocks on Embiid is that he is injury prone. But this new deal, I mean, it leads us to believe that Philly isn't worried about that anymore, right? What can you tell us?
Yeah, and I think the contract, as Ramona Shelburne reported, does not include injury protections that are built into the deal like his last max contract was. I think a big part of that was he's largely been healthy. He certainly avoided significant injury over the course of the last several seasons. He missed 11 games before the playoffs with that meniscus injury this year, that he played with in the playoffs, that he's not going to need surgery on this offseason. And so the commitment that Philly has made to Embiid through the 2027 season, it certainly shows you, that they believe, listen, there's always risk involved with any player, and especially someone who's had a history like Embiid. But this is the cornerstone player for this franchise, and certainly, one of the top handful of players in all of the NBA.
Yeah. Well, did I hear from you that he negotiated his own deal this time?
He did, and this was a contract that he did without an agent, negotiated the terms, which include a player option on the last year of that deal. So he could become a free agent or opt out and then re-sign another deal with the Sixers, but not before that 26-27 season.
But real quick, I mean, that's rare, especially at this level, right, for guys to be doing their own deals without an agent?
That is rare at any level in the NBA. Absolutely, Sage.
So listen, give him credit, Embiid getting it done with big numbers. Let's talk about Ben Simmons. He's been the hottest topic in Philadelphia this offseason. How, if at all, Woj, does Embiid's new deal affect Ben's future in Philadelphia?
Well, it certainly shows, that Philadelphia is going to continue to build around Joel Embiid and build their roster around him. I think largely as a singular force. Whether or not Ben Simmons remains in their future, is going to be, certainly the short-term future is going to be decided on whether Philly can find a trade for him prior to training camp. They struggle to do so largely because they're asking for a lot for Ben Simmons, and you understand why. Certainly what he's accomplished. And remember, he's got 4 years guaranteed left on his contract. So, certainly they can bring Ben Simmons back, and they're preparing for the idea that they may need to bring him back to Philadelphia to start the season because they don't have a trade yet for him. They've not had great traction lately on finding a deal for Simmons, and so they're going to have to find a way together to work without a trade to bring him back, and then perhaps you hope you build back his trade value. He gets off to a good start. He plays well, and then perhaps you look at a trade once the season gets going, maybe closer to the trade deadline, maybe he spends another year. But there's certainly interest on both the Sixers side and Ben Simmons side to find a new home for him.
4 years is a long time to have left on that contract, so we'll see. It's been a very busy offseason for the Sixers. Remember, they re-signed Danny Green and Furkan Korkmaz, also added Andre Drummond in free agency, so we'll see what next season brings. News coming out real quick with Christmas Day games being announced, September, October. We're 4 months away. What can you tell us about the Christmas Day slate, Woj?
Well, Trae Young and the Hawks, I'm told, returning to Madison Square Garden, where I think Trae Young branded himself as something of a villain in New York.
Yep.
And he'll be back at the Garden against the Knicks on Christmas Day. And then really the battle of the Titans, East and West. The Brooklyn Nets headed to LA to take on LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and of course now Russell Westbrook.
So the full schedule will be released today on The Jump, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Lots of good ones to look forward to in just a couple of months. Adrian Wojnarowski with the latest. Thank you.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.